What's up, guys? Westy, Critical Chris, and the A-Train here for another critical discussion group. So we got some questions on our Facebook fan page over at facebook.com/criticalbench, and this one comes from Mike Ferris. He says, I have seriously injured my rotator cuff. It has bothered me for approximately 4 years. I cannot afford surgery. What can I do, if anything, to rehab it? All right, Mike, that sucks. First of all, I'm assuming you've been to a doctor and you've gotten a diagnosis and they've recommended surgery. One thing, when you do go to a doctor, their job usually is two things: to give you some kind of medication that's going to cover the pain, but that's not going to solve it. That just means you're not going to feel it. You wind up getting addicted on painkillers and things, not the best route to go. And then again, surgery should be, not your first thing you want to go to, and it's very expensive, like you said. So is there anything you can do? There's definitely a few tips. It really depends what your injury is, but you want to start trying to avoid certain exercises that do irritate the shoulder. Now, I'm posting a link below this video to 5 exercises that you should avoid or at least change in the way you're doing them. Now, a lot of the things with these shoulder exercises is do not let your shoulder come out of socket and hyperextend. You want to keep that shoulder packed in a lot of movements that you're doing. There's also a quiz below. You can answer some questions and take our shoulder pain quiz. Now, we do have a product called Fix My Shoulder Pain, and it's created by injury specialist Rick Caselge. Now, in there, the purpose of this program, he lets you do a self-assessment. He walks you through and you do some different movements, and if you already know what you have, it's even better. You can just jump right to phase 2, and there's a good 5-10 minutes worth of workouts and routines that you can do, and you don't have to stop everything else you're doing. You just do this before your workout. It's kind of like your warm-up, and should help a lot. But to tell you specifically exactly what you need to do, I'm not sure until I know what the problem is. But definitely check out the links below. We have a ton of shoulder pain and shoulder injury resources for you. So who's next?
In-training. So I definitely am not an injury specialist, nor do I claim to be. The only thing I can do is share with you my experience. That's what I can offer you. Just recently with doing kettlebells, I actually injured my shoulder. And from doing movements such as coming up here, certain exercises were hurting me and others weren't. Now, I'm smart enough to know one thing, that when things are hurting, you don't want to keep going and going, because that's led to injuries that have gone worse and worse in the past. So I've learned from my mistakes. So the one thing that I will say is, if you have certain exercises you can perform, I can tell you, when I've done shoulder exercises, right now certain ones hurt and certain ones don't. So feel it out, do a light weight, and see if you can do that movement. That would be my option to you, because I'm telling you, a movement like this as opposed to this makes a big difference. So that would be my advice and sharing my experience with you. Chris?
My little tidbit on that would be, there's so many ways to go with this answer. The severity of, is it a strain, is it a partial tear, or is it like a full tear? And if it's a full tear, surgery is pretty much your only option, unfortunately. If it's a partial tear, life can go on. You just have to be really smart about how you dive back into your exercises. You can never not do an internal and external rotation with whether it be cables, bands, dumbbells, just about anything. And like Anthony said, stick with things that I always say people need to have a pain meter, like a threshold. Everyone knows what is very painful for them, and that would be a 10. And something that's not really painful would be a 1. The key is to always stay at or below a 3. So if things start to escalate into a 4 or 5 or 6, that's a movement that needs to be kind of thrown out, at least temporarily. You can always go back to it. But I would definitely implement the internal external rotation movements. Try things that maybe you're not currently doing. A lot of people get stuck doing the same things over and over again, and that kind of leads to injury as well. So, but stick with my pain threshold approach, and hopefully your problem improves and you don't ever have to resort to surgery.
All right, Mike, good luck. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
See ya.